okay, here's something you said that's interesting. I don't know if you still believe it or not, but she's just looking for a meal ticket. Do you still believe that?
Yeah, I feel like it feels like the main thing with the kid was getting paid out. That's what it feels like.
But she clearly has money if she's able to spend $15,000 on the drop for a bracelet. Like she has to have a good amount of money, probably like much more than the average person.
Sure, she has income. I don't know how much money she actually has. I don't know. Does she still have that bracelet? Did she take it back and turn it in? I have no idea.
No, I don't think so. I think she still does have it, but
Wait. Do you have any reason to believe that or any evidence of that, or is that just an emotional?
it's okay. I could this. I'm not. Don't quote me on this because I think I remember in one of the interviews she did where she mentioned she like showed it off. I could be wrong about that, so I'm not gonna stake. My whatever. I'm not gonna say that's definitive, but that's just my recollection. I could be wrong about that. But like either way, dropping $15,000 just kind of like on the dot implies you have a good amount of money. I mean, she's able to like what the fuck is she doing right now? Like she's in America. She's probably staying in a nice Airbnb in New York. That shit's not cheap.
Sure, but if you feel like you could get an easy $50 or $100,000 from having an abortion, like that's still a nice way to. That's still a nice payday. It's a nice lump sum of money, right?
So there's like two possibilities. Number one is that she deliberately set this up from the start to get a meal ticket, to get money from Fresh. Or number two is she felt really betrayed and hurt, and now she's just looking for revenge.
Well, there's number three is also that she did genuinely like him for a while, and then she did get pregnant, or at least it's seeming to say she got pregnant, and now she's like upset, and so she's like using this as a way to get money for an abortion. Possible. It doesn't
uh,
have to be planned from the very start. It could have like developed after she got like upset when they broke up.
I agree with everything but the last part. I don't. There's no direct evidence of her using the. I know she said things like I called the lawyer and he needs to take responsibility, but there's not one message of her asking him for money at all. Nothing like
Yeah,
that.
no shit, of course not. But there's a lot of messages, and there's a lot of in that conversation. There's a lot of her hinting at it heavily, though. But she's not going to say explicitly. That would be the dumbest thing in the world. Can you give me $50,000? But she does say like, "What are you going to do for me?" Like, what is she implying there?
Well, first of all, we have to keep in mind that her English is super broken. But it could be many things. I'm not saying it's impossible that she's using this as a meal ticket. It's just that I think that's making the claim she's just looking for a meal ticket. There's insufficient evidence for that since number one, she never actually asked him for money. She hinted at, yeah, like, what are you going to do? But I think what you're referring to is what are you going to do to me, which was a safety thing that she was
I
bringing up.
disagree. I don't think it was a safety thing. I think it was an English thing. I think she meant to say, "What are you going to do for me?" Because right after that, she clarifies. She's like, "How are you going to take responsibility, or how are you going to deal with this, or whatever?"
Yeah, so we disagree with that. I actually think she was at that point fishing to get him to say something because at that point she was already super pissed at him and she was just fishing to get him to say something. But she asked the wrong question. But she says, "So what are you going to do to me?" And then he's like, "What? Nothing." And then I think she repeats it one more time. And then when she realizes
He doesn't repeat that one more time. She changes to, "What do you like? How are you going to take responsibility or something, or what are you going to do for me or something?"
but
Yeah,
then
but I don't think she ever meant to say, "What are you going to do to me?"
well, I mean, also if you go off what she said on multiple streams, even the stream you were on with her, she was talking about like, oh, I don't know what he's going to do to me on other streams, and I agree, all that shit is ridiculous.
Wait. I'm trying to remember on my stream. Did she actually say that unprompted, or did she say that in response to Tree asking about it because she heard her?
No, she said it unprompted, and she said on other streams. She said it on Tree's follow up stream where she said like she said this multiple times. Yeah, guys, if I disappear, you know who it is. And then even Tree, who hates Fresh and Fit, was like, yeah, like nothing's going to happen with you. Don't worry. She's made that claim multiple times. Whether she's using that to bait him or she's legitimately scared, I don't know. If it was an American girl, I would say pretty definitively she's just trying to bait him or something like that into saying something dumb. But given the fact that she's from China, where it seems like when people do disappear there and it's much more shady shit happens, it's not unreasonable for her to be concerned about her safety. I think it's stupid, but it's not unreasonable. So in that statement you're asking, she did say initially, I think she did mean like actually about safety, which I agree is dumb because Fresh, despite all his faults, is not a violent person. He's not going to do shit, obviously. But then after that, so that didn't work. Then she says, "So what are you going to do?" I forget her exact wording. I do agree with you that implies maybe financial support, but at the same time, if she's just looking for Fresh to pay child support, that's
I don't
not
think she's ever looking for child support. She's looking for a payday for the abortion. She's never having that kid. There's no world where that kid is born ever. If she's even pregnant, she's never having that kid.
She did an ultrasound, she did a blood test. I mean, like, what kind of evidence would you like to see? In addition to that, I think the biggest piece of evidence is when she calls Fresh about initially. So, for example, if a girl called me saying that she's pregnant with my baby, I believe she was lying. That would be the first thing I would say. I'd be like, wait, how do you know it's mine? Are you sure? How do you know it's mine? He never questions the pregnancy. He goes along with it. So that means in his mind, he believes that she's pregnant. At the same time, she's also releasing ultrasounds and blood work. She said that I think on Monday she's gonna make a video of her at the doctor. Like, I think there's pretty strong evidence that she's pregnant. Whether she's gonna keep the baby or not is uncertain. But it's most likely that she's pregnant.
Okay, it's possible. I don't
I
trust
mean,
anything that comes from her at all at this point. So, but it's possible. Yeah.
who do you trust more, her or Fresh?
I don't really trust Fresh either, but I'm not relying on Fresh to tell me whether or not she's pregnant or not.
Well, I'm relying.
It's not like I'm thinking like Fresh. If Fresh was like, I didn't have sex with her at all, it's like, yeah, right. I wouldn't believe Fresh either. But I'm not using Fresh's credibility to deny her credibility. Or I'm not using because I believe Fresh, I don't believe her.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're both unreliable narrators, although I would say Fresh and Fit is even more unreliable. But here's the evidence for her being pregnant. Number one, Fresh admitting that he was busting inside of her without protection. That could very easily cause a baby. Number two, the fact that Fresh is capable of getting a woman pregnant. He's not like impotent based on the on the abortion story that he was bragging about. That's number two. Number three is the fact that she released her blood work and her ultrasound. I think when you combine, and number four is the fact that when she was on the phone telling Fresh she's pregnant, he never doubted her at all. So when you combine those four things, I'm not relying here on like something like that she's saying per se. I'm just going off the evidence, which is again, number one, Fresh not questioning the pregnancy. Number two, Fresh busting inside of her. Number three, Fresh being able to get women pregnant. He's not impotent or whatever like that. And number four, the ultrasound, the blood work. I mean, I think that's much more likely than not that she's pregnant. Would you disagree with anything I said?
It's possible, but if she's faking it all of these things are incredibly easy to fake. So, but yeah, I don't know.
But then why would Fresh not question her when she called? Like you would think, okay, let's assume some girl is claiming you got her pregnant, and you know you did not get that girl pregnant, or you have massive doubts, and she calls you like, "Hey, Destiny, we're gonna have a blue-haired child. You got me pregnant." Would your initial reaction be like, "Oh fuck, well I want nothing," or would your initial reaction
It's
be like,
possible that he thinks he did get her pregnant. Like she could be pregnant. I'm just not putting any weight on anything she's producing. It's
"What do you think is
possible.
more likely that she's pregnant or she's not pregnant?"
I'd probably say 51% that she is pregnant.
Okay,
Or at least she was pregnant, that she was pregnant at one point in time. I'd say 51%. I believe probably more likely that she was than wasn't.
Yeah, I think it's more like 80, 90% that she's pregnant.